Let's talk about your fans, because you have some crazy passionate fans.
Great fans.
Mongo Nation.
Mongo Nation, yes.
You don't have Twitter or social media.
Well, there's a lot of fake ones, but there's no real ones.
Exactly. That should be noted, that somebody may think one of the fake ones is...
There are like 14 fake ones, I think.
I think 14 is lowballing it.
There's
a
there's a lot. And somehow I became some kind of folk hero to these people. And I just started to notice them showing up at places and reacting, and everything was getting larger and bigger, and the regular media caught on to it, and then I started treating differently to the point where, you know, I'm treated now like way past what a media person should be treated as. I'm treated like a regular celebrity, which is crazy. It really is. I mean, I get so much attention wherever I go. It's nuts, and it's really been this way the last 5 or 6 years, but it keeps growing and growing, and it's still been growing. It's wild. And it's this whole Mongo Nation thing. They're the most crazy, loyal fans that I ever have encountered. They're wild. I mean,
I've never seen anything like it.
No, neither have I. FrancesaCon blew me away. I had no idea. I was not prepared for it.
Yeah, so FrancesaCon, is this the second?
It's this weekend, the third one.
The third one.
I didn't go to the first one.
You didn't?
No, and I promised to go to the second one.
They had a convention in your honor, and you didn't go to it.
Well, I thought...
You are so famous.
I didn't know what it was, to be honest with you. I had never heard of SantaCon at the time. I did not know the concept.
What about Comic-Con?
I had no idea of any of them. So when I heard of FrancesaCon, I'm like,
what about Con Air?
No, I hadn't heard any of that stuff. So here's the thing. I didn't know that they dressed up like Santa Claus. Okay?
Yeah.
Now, then I hear they're going to dress up like me, and I'm like, this can't be serious. I didn't think it was real. I thought it was a spoof. Like, I figured if I went there, there'd be nobody there. So last year, not having any idea, I walk in there, and it is insanity. It is, I mean, the craziest thing I've ever, I mean, everyone in their life should have that kind of ovation once in their life. I mean, it was like 15 minutes of insanity. It was pandemonium. It was the most crazy thing I ever, thousands of people. It was insane.
They loved you.
Oh, it was past that. It was ridiculous. So it's this Saturday, and they said snowstorm, no snowstorm. They're having it, and I promised to go, and then last year I promised that if I went this year, I would bring a dog with me. So
do you and Mad Dog like hang out still now? No. So like this reunion is...
I'll be honest. I've seen Mad. This is truth. That's probably bad to say. I've seen Mad Dog. We've been apart 8 years. I've seen him 5 times.
Really?
Yeah. I'm being honest.
Yeah. I mean, so this reunion is really a reunion.
Yeah, and you know, we morph right back into who we were, though. Like, he'll start telling me secrets. I mean, like, we'll talk about things that are like, we wouldn't talk about with somebody else. As soon as we sit down, like, we could tell each other, and, you know, I mean, we know so much about each other that we can talk about things or talk about business or talk about our lives or whatever, and we can, like, morph right back into that when I haven't seen him in, like, 2 years. It's weird that we have that relationship. It's like we're related, but we never see each other. We're like, we are kind of tied at the hip in a way, because, you know, we owe our careers to each other, and that's a fact. I mean, listen, I have had great success. I've had great success since we split up, but I wouldn't be here if there wasn't Mike and the Mad Dog. Mike and the Mad Dog made my career. I'm not an idiot. I know that. Dog knows it too. We put something together that was, you know, iconic, and it really gave us a chance to do everything we do. So yeah, I understand what Mike and the Mad Dog means to me. It's a very special part. I'm very protective of Mike and the Mad Dog. It's the best sports show of all time. I mean, I'm very protective of it.
Why would you say then you guys haven't really seen each other as much? Just
because, you know, we never socialized together. You got to remember something. We spent 30+ hours on the air. If you take in the time before, after, and if we were traveling, we spent 50, 60 hours together every week.
Yeah.
For 20 years. That's a long time. You spend more time, that's more time than you spend with anybody. And we spent a lot of time together. And there were times, and this is why we were so good. There were times where we would do a show 5.5 hours a day. And we did it for, I'd say, one time 6 months, where we never spoke a word off the air. We were that mad at each other. And we would go in and do a 5.5 hour show. Nobody knew that we were fighting. And we would leave and go our separate ways. We would show up in the studio at 1:05, 1:03, and we would do a show, and we would leave And we would never speak a word. And during commercials, we would never speak a word to each other for 6 months. True story.
Wow.
And no one ever knew that we were fighting.
Would you guys ever go back to the two of you having a show?
I don't think it's, I don't think we would be the obstacle. I think the business is the obstacle. There's no way they can afford a show as expensive as our show would be.
Let's just say somebody could.
Then I think it would be possible.
Then
But I
you would
don't
do
think
it.
economically it's feasible. If they could pay us like we both are used to being paid, then I think that, do I think there would be other obstacles? No, I think the obstacle is economic purely.